Hi everyone! So, first of all, before we start the video, two things. It's going to be a bit of a long video. Second thing, can we appreciate that I finally got my microphone working? I swear to God, you would not believe the struggles I've had. Oh my god, I don't want to get into it, let's just say technology is not my best friend at the moment, but it's done, it's working. Hopefully it sounds okay. Well, if it doesn't, then it's tough luck really, isn't it? Because I've already made the video. So anyway, yes, today I am doing a little bit of a different video. It's not going to really have much of me drawing in it, but, excuse me, what it is basically a tutorial for the beginniest of beginners, if you're starting using a digital tablet or a paint program. Because, well, basically, recently, I got a new tablet, as I mentioned in my last video, and so I handed down my old tablet to my brother, my little brother, who is, well, he's going to be 9 soon, and he, obviously being, you know, a little bit younger than the average artist, you know, he was really struggling with it, and it made me think, you know, when I was starting out, I could have really benefited from, you know, just a video just going through all the basics and stuff like that. So, and they're just, you know, I mean, they exist, but they don't exist all at once, you know, you have to, like, trawl through, like, 20 different videos to find something specific that you want, and, you know, so I thought I'll try my best to, make one myself, because I thought it'd be quite useful. So, as you might have noticed, I have Paint Tool SAI up. Now, I don't normally use SAI, I mean, I've used it in the past, but I use a program called Critter at the moment, which is completely free. But I figured that a lot of starting artists often do use Paint Tool SAI, because even though you have to pay for it, there's often other forms of downloading it on the internet that people do use, and so a lot of people do get it free off the internet, and it's often used by beginner artists, so that's why I'm using it. So right, just let's start off with the basics. How to open a new canvas. It sounds silly, but if you've never used any form of paint program or whatever in your whole life, you may not know how to do that. So you go to File over here, and you press New. Easy peasy. Now my dimensions at the moment, you can see, are 2000 for the width, and for the height 2200. Just because I like how, you know, that looks. And 2000 makes a very good resolution. And resolution is quite important, because it allows your picture to be of better quality, you know, so at the moment the resolution is 72, but I probably put it up to 250, just because it looks a lot cleaner and crisp. So, when you press OK, then your canvas comes up. So, you might be noticing a few things right now. First of all, we've got this over here. This is, I don't really know what to call it, but it's the column that's there. Some people have it over this side as well. You can change that on Paint Tool side, but I prefer to have it over here. And then you have all your palette and your brushes over here. So one problem that I find with Paint Tool SAI that some people might not find is that when you've got this colour wheel here, it doesn't allow you to see all the stuff down here, and there's no way to scroll, which is a bit annoying. So to fix that, first of all, you go into View. Do you go into View? Or do you go into... Wait, you might not go into View. You go into one of these things. I think it might be... Damn it. This isn't a very good tutorial if I don't know what I'm doing. Window. You go into Window. Obviously, because you're viewing the window. Right, and then you can see all these little bits that are ticked, okay? So the bit you want to get rid of, for the moment, is the colour wheel. Up here, that bit there, because it's that... Well, it's the wheel. So you get rid of it, and that goes, and then you can see all this stuff down here. So, you still can't quite... Oh, I know what I do. Right, I get rid of these sliders. So that is the RGB slider. And then I bring the colour wheel back. Do I? No, I don't. I still the colour wheel still away. That way, you can pick all your different colours along this here, and you can adjust the brightness and darkness of them and whatever. And you've got all the brush sizes still here, and you've got all this stuff. Now, going off topic a little bit, but you can just adjust the brush sizes here. using this thing. It's a little slider. And you can see in the middle of the canvas there how big the brush is going, so I select a colour that's not white. So there's this, and then you slide it down and it goes smaller, and you slide it down and it gets smaller. So you might not need to have this bit here, which is what I do, and then I bring the colour wheel back. So as you can see, that bit pops off the end there. It's okay, because you don't need it. Right, so now I've ruined my canvas. Right. So that's what the setup for me would look like if I was using SAI. So you've got your canvas in the middle, and so you want to start your drawing. Fair enough. First things first, you need to have a brush. So SAI comes with a lot of pre-made brushes here, which is, you know, it's very good. But you can also download a lot of brushes, because a lot of people just give that stuff away on the internet because they're very generous. Just for beginner's sake, we're just going to use the brush that SAI gives you. But you can see you've got pencils, which work in a way that's, well, it's for sketching really. It's for your undersketch. I'll get around to what that is first in a minute. It's very light, and it's very, it's kind of small really, isn't it? But you can change the size as well. And it's just, you know, very basic, very nice, very smooth, quite grey, even though I have black selected. You have your airbrush, which is like a little blending tool thing. Common mistake that a lot of artists make, beginner artists, is that they often use the blending tool to, you know, to draw with, to paint with, and to do their sketch with, and to use everything with it. And it can just make the sketch look very soft and hasn't really got that much body to it. You know, it doesn't, I mean, it makes it look like you need glasses, doesn't it? Really. Whereas, you get your brush, which is the one I'm really talking about, got a nice, look, right, before we start, these bits here are your nib sizes, so you can have a very pointy nib, or you can have a kind of round nib, or a square one, or a totally square one. I understand that these lines don't look very different. I don't think it really does much. Other artists think it's, you know, gold dust. I don't know, you don't need to use them. But, okay, so we've got a little man here used with just the airbrush, and then you use the paint tool, and it's just sharper and crisper and just nicer, really. It looks like a monkey now. There you go, it's a monkey. Anyway, so, first of all, right, done, the brushes. There's loads of other stuff here. I mean, I can't sit and tell you and go through each and every brush, you know, that would be a very boring tutorial. But, you know, you just have to experiment with it yourself. That's the fun. You just do it yourself. You look at stuff, and you experiment with stuff, and you're like, oh, what does this brush do? Does that look any good? Or, oh, what about the water brush? What does that do? It's kind of weird. Like, what is it doing? It's blending things, you know. You know, what does the binary tool do? It doesn't look like it does much, but then if you put it down to this, it's like, it still doesn't do much. The binary tool's meant to be like a pixel tool, but that, I don't know, it doesn't really work for me. It's probably something to do with my resolution. Anyway, I feel like I'm complicating things, but this is why I'm not a teacher. So you got that. Right, so you've made a mess on your layer, like I have. You can go to this button here, which is clear the layer. It doesn't get rid of the layer, it just clears everything that's on that layer. So boom, done. It's very nice and clean now. So, okay, so you have this layer. One thing that a lot of people who start off, they don't quite get the hang of it, and that is that you use separate layers for separate things, so it makes it easier on yourself. A lot of people will just use the same layer for the same colours, for the same line art, for the same, you know, everything. And yeah, that works in some respects for painting and stuff like that. Doesn't quite work if you're doing digital cartoons or digital art like I do, where it's like very layer-centric. So this layer, layer 1 here, a lot of people will just draw straight onto it. You can do that. Like, I've done that before. It's easy. You can do it. That's fine. You get your little man there, he's got a bit of hair, it's okay. You know, you can draw straight onto it, and that's, you know, whatever. But what people tend to forget is that this layer can also be the background. And you treat it like the background. You don't draw anything on the background. You can fill it with a nice colour if you want. So you get the bucket tool, I picked my colour up there. I picked a desaturated green colour, and you fill it. So that is the background. I mean, I don't do complicated backgrounds, as you probably know by watching my videos. I'm terrible at drawing complicated backgrounds. I can't draw hills and beautiful fields, and I don't do buildings or towns. I'm more of a people drawing person. I've tried, I'm practicing, I'm trying to get better. It will maybe happen eventually, but for now I use block colours like this, right? And it's easy peasy. So that's your background layer. So what do you do from there? Do you draw straight onto the layer? Well, no, because that will complicate things and it would smudge things around and it would make it a lot harder on you as the artist. So you need a new layer. So you go up to this tool here. If you hover over it, it says new layer. It's quite easy. It looks like a fresh piece of paper. So you click it, and then you can see here in your layer dock, or whatever you call it, that a new layer has appeared. Okay. And then you can draw straight onto this layer. So, oh, I've still got the fill tool. Very clever. Select the brush, draw onto the layer. It would look pretty much the same as if you drew onto the background, drew onto the background straight away. Only it's not. It's on the layer above. So that means that if you don't want to see this, because you are, let's say you're drawing a very complex hedge in front of him, and you see his leg is sticking through there, and it's, I don't know, it's complicating the way that you have this vision for your own hedge, and oh, it's getting in the way, and I don't want that leg there. First of all, you don't draw it on the same layer. You make a new layer, you draw your hedge on that layer, unlike what I just did right then. I'm not even going to my own teachers. So yes, the leg is obstructing the hedge, whatever. Yes, it's a hedge, don't question me. Unless he's flying and then he's in the sky. So then you get your man, and make sure to select that layer, and you know it's selected because it's blue. And you can press that little I button, and you hover over it and it says show or hide the layer. And you click it, and he disappears. Is he deleted? No, because you click it again, he comes back. But he disappears so that he doesn't distract you. So you can do, you know, a man in the foreground. He's in the foreground, which means he's in front of the other man, and he's just, you know, he's taking a stroll in the park. This is, I hope you realise that this is the best artwork I've done on my whole channel. Probably going to sell this and get a huge YouTube career. Anyway, so he's taking a stroll in the park in the foreground, right? You take your little man back, look, he's in the background, didn't distract you because you had spent all this detailed, you know, maybe he's got a big pompadour or whatever. He's done all that, and then you've got your man in the background. And he, you know, do a little dance, if anything. Maybe that'll make you happy. Anyway, you just need to know what the buttons do. That's all I'm trying to teach you here. You can use it however you want. That's the good thing about art, is just you just use it how you want. Another thing that people need to understand about layers, when they're first starting out, is that it matters what order they're in. Let's take the layer of our little man here, and if we drag him down under the background layer, he disappears. Why is that? Well, think of it as 3 pieces of paper, okay? Each layer is a separate piece of paper. If you take your piece of paper with a little man drawn on it, and you put him under the background piece of paper, he's not going to show through, isn't he? Because the background's got green on it. You're not going to be able to see him. So it's the same as layers. If he's underneath the background, you can't see him. So, I mean, that could sound like really stupid for me having to, like, even explain that, but, so, you know, some people don't get it, and I'm only trying to help. So there you go. Don't blow up in my face, being like, I'm not stupid. Well, no, you're not, and neither are the people who don't understand. So, get off with that, hypothetically. Okay, right, well, I spent way too long on that. What else do I need to say? Creating a layer, we've done all that. Ah, this is the thing. Different layers do different things. I'm gonna get a bit complex here. You can see that, okay, let's make a new layer above the background so you know what I'm doing. And let's take something that goes with green, let's take, I don't know, some red, or maybe some pink actually. Let's just make the brush a bit bigger. Let's get rid of our men. And just scribble that on. Okay, so it's a big scribble, it's an abstract painting, if you will. You can see at the top here, you have mode, okay? I mean, maybe I should, wait, hold on. Let me explain opacity first. So opacity is something that's quite important actually, especially if you're doing multi-layered artwork. Opacity is how, what's the word? I guess opaque the layer is. It's a bit like an onion skin when you're doing animating. So you can see through it. Okay, so let's say Mr. Stickman here, he's very, very dark at the moment because I've used black. I make him less opaque, and then that means if I'm going over with my line art, with the darker colour, I can still see what I'm doing. If you make a new layer, for God's sake. I can still see what I'm doing, and I can still see him, but he stands out more, so I can make adjustments, so I can put a bow in his hair, and it doesn't distract me because I don't see that, whereas, you know, if I saw that line there, I mean, it would look a mess, wouldn't it? And I wouldn't know what my finished product was going to look like. So that's one reason that you can use opacity. Another reason could be just because you like the colour of it. I mean, that looks like a nice colour. So there's plenty of reasons. Just be aware that if you do that, anything that comes off in the layer below, you're going to be able to see it through. So, you know, just think about that. It's all interesting stuff. Right, what I was going to talk about was the mode, okay? So, different modes are different things. As you can see, there's this long list of complicated words. So what do they do? Well, I'll go through each one. Multiply is what people normally use when they want to add shading to a character, and they want it to stick with the colour scheme. So, if, let's say, I have my little pink guy blob thing here, and I wanted to put some shading onto him, I'd probably, first of all, pick a bit of a darker colour to shade him over, right? So this is darker. Hold on. Let's get that colour back. Okay, so, where am I? There we go. So, pick a darker colour. Probably into a purple. And then that's where you're like, oh yeah, that shading will do. Now it will, depending on what style of drawing you want. If you want something that's very bright, vibrant, go ahead, do it. I mean, it looks nice, it's a good colour together. If you're wanting shading that's a little bit darker, then you can go and you can turn on the opacity on the mode. And then when you go over it, you see how it's a lot more fitting to the colour and a lot more darker. And I mean, I've changed to the airbrush tool as well, but using the brush tool, pardon me, I've eaten too fast before recording this video, then look, it gives it a lot more depth. And if you don't like that colour, what you can do is you can adjust the opacity of it. See? Full circle, and you can make it lighter if you want. You can make it barely there, you can make it darker or light, you know. You get the idea. I'm not going to treat you like an idiot. But, there you have it. That's that. Now then, we have multiply, and you have lots of things that do the same thing. Multiply is very much the same as shade, and then you have luminosity, which makes everything brighter. So if you want to add a little bit of a brightness to it, I recommend not using the full opacity for that. See, that's like a highlight instead of a shade, if you get my drift. Okay, so luminosity is also the same as screen, pretty much, only not to the same intensity. I mean, like I say, just play around with it. No one's going to see this. They only see it if you choose to publish it, like I'm doing right now. Just have fun with it, you know? Choose all these different modes, see what they all do. If you don't like it, you can just press the undo button. That's the great thing about digital art. Anyway, what else do I have to talk about? Right then, let's go into serious art now. Let's not go into stickman. Let's imagine that you want to do an actual picture of something. And, you know, because I imagine if you're doing art, you want to. So, you have your sketch layer. I don't really know what I'm going to draw. So I have, it's a very thick sketch. I'm going to use pencil for this, because I like it. And no one should tell me otherwise. So, you're gonna want to, hold on, you're gonna want to do just, I don't know, just a thing. I'll draw a sketch, and then I'll get back to you when I'm done. Okay, so I've drawn my own character, Orion. Again, he makes an appearance. As you can see, this sketch is very rough. And I want to move it into the middle of the canvas, so what I've just done there is I press Ctrl and T, and it opens up the transform. And transform is like a box that you can do this, you can do that, and all that stuff, in case you weren't aware. So I've moved it into the middle of the canvas, just so I can work a little bit easier with them. This sketch is very light, very blur, and kind of scruffy, but it's fine because it's a sketch. Now, what you want to do, if you, of course you can't publish something looking like this, can you? I mean, you could, I mean there's nothing wrong with it, but I personally want something that looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit more finished, you know, something maybe with a bit of colour. So what I would do then is I would make a new layer above my sketch layer. And I would take my sketch layer and I would lower the opacity, okay? That makes it just more see-through. And then I would get my brush because it's nicer, and I'd test the thickness out just by scribbling on the canvas. It's a bit too thick for my liking, it's a bit better. And now, one thing I struggled with for ages was the line art of things, and that is the process of going over things with a bit more detail so that it looks nicer, right? But, as you can see there, it's not necessarily the best line art in the world. I agree with that. I don't think it's very good. So, what I discovered, and it's not really a trick, everyone knows about it, I just came to it very late, is you can use a pen stabilizer, which is up here, okay? And that comes down with just a lot of numbers, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And what it does is it slows down the stroke of your pen. So if I am on number 5, it doesn't do much. But if I go on number 12, as you can see there, everything's a lot smoother, and, you know, it just looks nicer. I usually use probably about 14, or maybe that one, S2 is best. You can see where it definitely looks slow and just smooth. So, in order to do my lines, I will go in with that. And you can see already it's looking a lot nicer, a lot smoother. I don't really have a proper sketch for this, so it might... It's just the lines look nicer, look crisper and fresher and, you know, just nice, just smooth, something that is pleasant to look at, which at the end of the day, that's the goal for art, isn't it? Making things that are pleasant to look at. So then you just line it, go over and you just basically go over what you've already drawn, but do it in a way that's neater, so it looks nicer. I'm not putting much effort into this. If you want to see me draw properly, you can watch my videos. But yeah, so lots of different things. The good thing about line art is that it doesn't have to be exactly what you've drawn before, because this is where you can adjust your drawing and see if things work or not. So the eyes here, so I realised I forgot to add his other eyes, which is the whole part of his character, but never mind. You can see I've done little strokes there to add what look like eyelashes. And then I'll add his other eye here, just because it'd be a shame not to. And there you go. That looks very squishy. Add again lashes. Just make it look darker, give it a cartoony edge. I draw in a cartoony style, so why not? I mean, it's not meant to look realistic. One thing I like doing recently with the eyebrows is doing a solid shape, what I want the eyebrow to be, filling that in. Oh, maybe not. Something's gone wrong. Well, okay, let's fill it in with my brush instead. Just to make it easier instead of me trying to figure out where the gap is in my paint tool thing. So just doing that. And then, I mean, that looks... I mean, it looks fine, but it doesn't look how I want it to look. You select the eraser, and then select the size, make it quite small. Just go in and... wait a minute. Hold on. I want it to be sharp. There we go. See how what I did? I just selected that big square thing and it made the strokes more sharp instead of fuzzy. And I just go in and I add lines, because it just... that's what eyebrows look like. They have hair straggling and, you know, stuff. And of course that just starts to look a bit like a tiger eyebrow, so I go back in with the brush and I add more hair to it, so it looks like an actual eyebrow. There you go. And then just little bits and bobs like that, little tricks that you can pick up. Just because why not? That's why. So yes, you get the idea with all the line art, and I just wanted to explain what pen stabilising was, so now you know. Now let's get on to colour. Once you've got line art sorted, of course I haven't finished this, so we're just going to have to keep with the sketch layer in the background. Usually you just get rid of it and then it would be smoother and blah blah blah, it's common sense. You probably want to add some colour. So you create a layer below your line art, because if you didn't, then, for example, if it was the skin, because skin colours, and if you were to draw over it, it would just go straight over the lines and you won't be able to see anything that you've done. So, you make it below. And then you can get rid of the stabilizer. I often use none because the colouring, it just makes it more freeing. Just put it below my sketch because, as I said, we haven't got a full line up. And then you just colour within the lines. It couldn't. I mean, some people use fill tool, but it's not really. You don't need to. Sometimes it's more relaxing to do it this way. I mean, this is pretty basic, but I want to explain just for people who might not know. So you colour him in, blah blah blah. That's his skin. Done. Sorted. Okay. Very neat, very tidy, as you can tell. And then, if you wanted to add some shading, select a darker colour, go in with the airbrush, and this is where it gets interesting. You want to shade, but you don't want to be too careful about it. And also, if you're doing this, it creates this excess outside of what you want. And you're like, oh, do I have to go around and erase everything? And you might want to, but it will take a long time, let me tell you that. So, this is very clever, and it's called Clipping Group. And it's a clipping tool. And whatever layer is above this layer here, clip it, and you can see that little red line, and what it does is it sticks to the layer below it, so that it doesn't go outside of the lines that the layer below it provides. So if you were to put it on the line art, it would make all the line art the same colour that you were shading. It sticks to whatever's below it. And SAI is very good for this because it's not very complex. It just does what it says on the tin, whereas something like Critter, I'd have to create a whole folder and it would be very complicated, which I thought, you know, would be difficult to explain for beginners. So if you see that, there's no excess, there's no nothing. It just creates this really beautiful gradient and shading, and you don't need to put much effort into it. And, you know, and you can see the mess that it's created if I unclip it. Like, that would be awful if you couldn't get rid of that, but you clip it and it's gone and it's disappeared and it's perfect. And then what you can do is you can add another layer, and you want to go in a bit darker just to make it stand out a bit more. And you go in and you're like, yeah, sure, but it's still going over the edge. You clip it again. And instead, because this layer below it's already clipped, it jumps to the next free layer, which is the layer that you want, and it becomes like a little folder of clipped layers. And I mean, this, I wouldn't normally shade a skin in this bright orange, usually I'd probably use a red or something, but you can see that it works and it's very easy. See, everyone in the digital program making company, they want you to be happy using their programs, they want things to be easy for you, so they make things that are easy. It's all very user friendly. I mean, there's other bits and bobs that I could tell you. If anyone has anything that they really, really want to know, then feel free to just comment it down below. I think I've covered quite a lot of things today, actually. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. The only other thing is when you save files, just be careful of what you save it as. If you save it as, like, I don't know, PNGs, it keeps all the layering. And, for example, if you have no backgrounds, so it's just a white square, one thing you have to be careful of is SAI doesn't tend to do what a lot of other things do when they have no background, to put grey and white squares in the background to show that there's nothing there. It just keeps with a white blank square. So when you save something and you save it as a PNG, it could actually turn the image transparent because there's no background behind it. So the image ends up saving with like bits missing. And it's just always remember to either add a background, or if you want your background to be white, save it as a JPEG instead. That's just like little bits and bobs that you probably figure out on your journey. So yeah, that's really it. I mean, I hope this is useful. I feel like I blabbed way too much, and I mean, I don't know what this half-finished monstrosity is that we've got here, but hopefully it helped. Like I said, any more questions and I'll answer them, and if people want me to do a tutorial on how I use Critter, which is a bit more of a complex program, I'll be happy to do it. Any more tutorials or anything that you want, I'm happy. I'm here, I can do it. I'm eager to please. Hopefully I should bring out another speed paint soon, so you won't get me talking. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.